guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I am so excited to show you guys this evil inspired makeup look for Halloween. And seriously, this makeup, it looks hard, but it is not hard. I try to make it as easy as possible. I basically used only eyeshadow, so I hope that you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe and leave me your comments below. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. So without further ado, let's begin. Alright, so the first thing that I did was apply my eye primer, and I'm using here the Air Patrol Eyebase, and I'm basically applying it and then blending it out with a beauty blender, which is very important if you want your eyeshadows to last all day, especially if you start your party early. So then I'm going to grab my electric palette from Decay, and I'm going to grab that shadow orange shade, the only one from the palette, which is called Slow Burn, and I'm going to apply this right onto my crease with a 224 brush. You just want to blend it in and out and basically blend it up to the tail of the brow, as I usually do, especially because we want this makeup to be really dramatic. Then I grabbed my 34 color matte eyeshadow palette from Crown, and I used this more vibrant shade, more bright orange, because when you think of fire, you think of like bright orange, yellow, red, like all these red tones in it, and then dark black. So that's where the whole inspiration for the eyes was going. So then I basically apply this right onto my crease, and as you can see, it's making it more orange, and the other color was kind of like not cutting it for me. So I basically just apply a more vibrant orange right on the crease, and as you can see, it's a lot better. So now once you do that, what I did is I grabbed the yellow tone from the palette, and I apply this right on top of that orange. Even if you go to the brow bone, like try to not go all the way. As you can see, I'm leaving like a little space of like light there underneath the brow. And if you apply too much yellow, as I did, I think I went all out with the yellow, I was having too much fun, you can go back to that orange and just basically neutralize too much yellow, and then you would like created that nice blended look of like yellow orange. And I applied the yellow because I actually Google like fired and flames, and it goes from like orange to yellow, so that's where the whole inspiration right there for the eyes was. So yeah guys, so if you need some inspiration, just Google things and you will find it. So yeah, after you do that, I grab my lasting drama pencil from Maybelline, and this pencil is like life. It's waterproof and it will make your makeup just last the whole day. If you don't have like a really pigmented black eyeshadow, this is a great tip. Just apply an eye pencil first, blend it out with a flat brush as I'm doing right here, and then apply the dark black shadow. I really wanted the black eyeshadow to be really intense because we're evil, and then we just want to look very smoky and at the same time very like sexy, and just create that nice bold effect on the eyes. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just blending out the edges, and once you do that, you want to go ahead and grab a matte black eyeshadow. So I grabbed my Hudabeauty eyeshadow palette, and I grabbed the black shadow from that palette, Black Truffle. You can use any black shadow, but that's the palette that was with me at the moment, so that's what I grabbed. And I just apply this right on top of my eye, on top of my lid, and just dab it, dab it, dab it. As you can see, I'm always very gentle when I apply my eyeshadows, and that's why I don't have like no fallouts. And for this type of makeup, you really don't have to be like super perfect. So what you want to do is just dab. Make sure you do dabbing motions, especially when you're working with dark eyeshadows. And then I grabbed this perfect red tone color, and I thought it was like the perfect shade. These shadows are very, very pigmented, which I really, really love, and that's what you need for like Halloween makeup. You really want things that are very pigmented. So this color from the Huda Beauty palette is called Maniator. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce this, but it's Maniator, the only red shadow from that palette. And you want to go ahead and apply it with the 224 brush, the blending brush. You want to apply it right on the crease where that eyeshadow meets with the orange, so you kind of like give it that blended out effect, and really like you don't even know where shadows start or finish. So yeah, basically that's what you want to do. Then you want to go back to retouch that black eyeshadow from the lid, and you want to repeat the same process. Once you do that, you want to go back and just blend out the edges, and that's basically the process of blending, because you want to make sure there's no harsh lines. Then I went ahead and started my bottom lash line, but then I realized that I forgot my concealer, so I had to stop and apply my concealer. and I used Shape Tape by Tarte Cosmetics. I usually use the lighter shade because I really wanted my under eye area to be very bright, and I did not set the concealer because I love the fact that when it sets like basically like very matte, and like you don't even need too much powder. So I basically use the shadows as a setting powder, and it just blended out very well. So you just want to let it dry for a little bit and then start working with the shadows. So what I'm doing now is just basically grabbing that color from the Urban Decay palette, mixing it with the one from the Crown palette, and just basically mix the two and start working slowly and creating like a triangle shape underneath your eye. And you want to create like the flame going downward as well. So you want to start like with the very orange shade and then finish out with the yellow shade. So I'm just basically building it up, and as you can see, it's becoming more orange, and you just want to blend it out. You really want to use for this like a blending brush because it really gives you that nice faded effect, and that's what we want. And then I'm gonna grab these two shades, the Cocoa and Maniator, and I'm going to mix them together and basically apply it right underneath my eyes with a little bit of the Black Truffle, which is just a black eyeshadow from that same palette. And then I'm going to apply my black pencil on the waterline from Maybelline, the same one I used earlier for the lid, and then I just blend it out a little bit more. Then I grab my Master Curvy pencil and I'm basically drawing that inner corner liner, and I'm really accentuating this because I want the eyes to be very exotic and cat eye, since I'm not gonna do a liner because I mean we already have so much black going on. I feel like it's gonna be lost on the black shadow, and we also want just the flames to like stand out a little bit more. So I basically just left it as that, and then I'm putting here my lashes, and I'm using the Eyerisbeauty lashes in the style Spiracha, and then I'm applying mascara on my bottom lashes, and I'm using the Maybelline mascara. And then after I do that, I'm gonna go back to those two same colors, and I'm gonna start working on my skin, on my face, on my contour. And as you can see, I already applied my foundation, and in case you were wondering, I used the Femi Matte Foundation from Maybelline, and because the foundation is more matte, so it sets kind of like a powder. I didn't even have to set it with a setting powder. I am using just the shadows to set it, and that way it picks up more of the pigment. And as you can see, I'm using more of the red shadow because I want it to be more red than like brown. You want it to be more red because evil tend to be, you know, you think of fire, so you want the overall look to be more red than anything else. So here I'm just tracing a line to kind of like create more definition on my natural contour to make my cheekbones stand out more. We want to create that sunk face effect and more defined. I wish actually my face was like a little bit more sunk and less cheeks, but you know, I love myself the way I am. But this was cool to really like see because it really makes a difference, like the whole effect of like the whole creating like definition and depth, like how it makes your cheekbones just stand out a lot more. So what I did with an angle brush, I just basically trace a line, and I'm just blending out the edges and putting a little bit more of that red shadow on top, and even the orange I put on top a little bit more of that Crown palette. And then what I'm doing now is basically grabbing that Master Curvy pencil and using the flat part of these liquid pencil to make that nice defined line, a thick line. And what this is going to do, now you understand the purpose of why I was doing that line with shadow, because it gives me more of like where to go with the liner rather than just go and then make a mistake. So that's what I was doing first with the eyeshadow, and then I just basically apply this. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to blend out the edges and apply more of the brown shadow right next to that line, because we want to create like a nice faded effect, since it was like really like it was like a really harsh line. So we wanted to make sure that it's very blended and there is like, you know, little edges, and you really can tell the difference between that jet liner and the shadow. So I mean, this is at the end of the day, it's Halloween, so I mean, you can't go wrong either way. But this is just how I wanted it to look. So basically, you just want to blend it out. Use different brushes, a blending brush to just blend out the edges. Apply more of the orange. Apply more of the red if you need to. Like as you can see here, I'm applying more of the orange, so it blends out the edges of the brown, so it doesn't look too brownish. Like still the red comes through. And then what I did is I basically, with a little bit of concealer, defined more the end of the line, just to give it more of like a highlighted look and make the other part synced in a little bit more. And I just blend it out with a beauty blender, and also I was cleaning up the edges. You also want to grab what's left on the beauty blender from the foundation and just basically dab underneath that line, so it gives more of a highlighted look and then more depth instead of adding more shadow. It just gives it more definition. And then once you do that, as you can see, now it looks good. Now we're good to move on. You want to go ahead and grab like a shimmery yellow shadow, and this is gonna give like the illusion of like the fire, like speckles of fire, and like, you know, just a little bit of glow to your skin. And also I'm gonna apply this on my brow bone. I use the shadow from the Hudabeauty palette, which is the 24K shadow, and I applied on my brow bone, cheekbone, and underneath my eyes to give it just like a speckle of fire, like, you know, like, hey, I burn. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope that you guys are enjoying this look. And then what I'm going to do next is move on to the forehead, and I'm actually just doing the temples of my forehead. So where the temples are, that's where you want to start putting the red shadow, the black eyeshadow, and also the yellow. So you want to repeat the same process from underneath the eyes, but at the top. And I'm also covering all those empty spots from my hairline, and the black eyeshadow wasn't cutting it for me. I was making the process a lot longer, so I just grabbed a little bit of face paint from just the Halloween, you know, store, or like you can find it at Kmart, Walmart, whatever, any face paint, and you want to put it to cover up your hairline if you have one. As you can see, I do, and I have like a lot of empty spots, and it's not even throughout, so I just wanted to make it even, so that's what I did. And then I set it with black eyeshadow. And then let's move on to the lips. So we're almost done, and what I did first is just line my lips. I used Thirsty Lip Liner by Tarte Cosmetics, and I'm just basically applying this all over. This is where you get to play. You can use like any red lipstick. It could be like an orange red, or it can be like a bright red, or it can even be like a deep red. It all depends how you're feeling, and you don't even have to go and buy like a red lipstick if you could just work with what you have home. You can even darken it by just using a black eyeliner or even brown eyeliner. And then I'm grabbing these two shades from Smashbox. The first one that I'm using is this was called Bawse, but what I did now is darken the sides with the other shade, which is called Misconduct, and this is gonna give it like the nice ombre effect. So you can actually play with it. Like you can even do like a black liner on the sides. You don't even have to go and buy like 4 different lipsticks to create like the ombre effect. You know, you can, for Halloween, just try to save your money and be creative. So the next thing that I did to my lips is apply that shimmery shade that we used for the highlight from the Hudabeauty palette, the 24K shadow, and applied it right in the center of my lips to give it more of a pouch effect, and also like the fired theme that we're going, you know, with. And then what I did is I grabbed the Fit Me Matte foundation, the same that I use for my skin, and applied all over my body, my neck part, so that way it gives me like a base to where to hold on. And the cool thing about this is that this is really comfortable to be with during Halloween, because sometimes when you work with those, as you can see, I'm showing you here the colors that I'm using, but what I was going for is, you know, basically it's more comfortable because you're not dealing with paints and like those, sometimes they get sticky and, you know, it just ended up being bad. This is just foundation and shadows, and you basically will be used to it by the night, because like you have it all over your face. So yeah, I'm showing you that I use those two shadows. I also use the one from the Crown palette, and I mix a little bit of brown in there. So that's basically it, guys. So you basically just want to wear like a black suit and also the tail, and it's just gonna be so cool. Now for the hair, this is what I did. I took a section from the front and I lift it up. Then I put the horns on, and I basically use that front part to stick it in between the horns to hide that part of the band. Then I grabbed two sections from the side, and then I wrap them around the horns to create those buns, and just to create the illusions of the horns being like more natural and more from within. And then here is the end result, guys. So I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. Please don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, comment below, and thank you for watching, keeping up with me until the end, and until next time.